going on, everybody? Welcome into a special edition of Jacked Ramsays. Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague, joined by Portland Trailblazers guard Anfernee Simons. Ant-Man, appreciate you taking some time out here during the offseason. I know you've been busy working on your game, busy working on relaxing, busy living life, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just, like you said, working out, trying to enjoy myself a little bit, but at the same time, continue to work to get better.
First of all, congrats on the deal.
Thank you.
We get to talk for a few minutes at Vegas and Summer League, and it's still a little weird seeing you from day one coming in with your parents in the studio and being the shy kid to the next couple years, you not really sure what your role was, kind of questioning your confidence, and then doing what you did last year and getting the thing that you worked for, the thing that you wanted more than anything, which was that respect, that level of commitment and everything else that kind of came with that. Because from the outside, that bag that came with it, add a few more M's onto it, as you know. But it's been cool as hell to watch you transition over these last 4 years, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a crazy journey, to say the least.
What has that been like for you? Like, what coming back to day one to Portland to when you go in and you sign that contract?
Obviously the first day, kind of not knowing what to expect. You just kind of green to everything because you don't know what's going on at all. You're new to everything and new to being in this kind of environment. So I just didn't know what to expect. Like through that first time I can't walk through the doors, I just wanted to see where I land, get better each and every day, learn as much as I can from my teammates and kind of go from there. And when I get my opportunity, try to do my best to perform well. And then coming into the signing my new deal was just I wouldn't expect this if I told myself this coming through the door. I didn't expect to things to click this fast, or even just for me to be able to have an opportunity like that, like I did last year, and show what I can do fully and get the respect of my peers.
Well, walk us through, Ant. Like, what was the day like for you when you signed the contract? Like I know you're very humble, you're modest, but like to get that kind of contract and have life-changing money, and you've kind of taken that next step in your career. Where are you at? What's the reaction when your agent says, "Hey, this is a done deal, it's inked"? And did you buy a house, a car? What are we doing? What's the first thing Ant Simons is doing?
I'm trying to remember where I'm at. Man, I don't remember exactly where I'm at when I got that phone call.
What a summer.
The man's been around.
Man.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I had to be either in Florida or in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was Phoenix. But it was just, obviously free agency started it, and things happened pretty fast. So I kind of knew within the first hour, what was going to happen, and it was a done deal very quickly. So, but it was just a real feeling, like it just doesn't feel real to this day, and I still hasn't kicked in that the organization believed in me that like this much, and that it's something that you can't put into words, just something that you kind of gotta stay focused and just continue to try to get better, the best player you can be.
Yeah. When you and I talked at Vegas, you said that the first check hasn't hit yet. So I guess that feeling hits when the first check hits, right? That's
yeah,
when it changes.
Man, it's real. Yeah.
I will say with this money, when you're in Phoenix, somebody may have told me that you may or may not stay on a couch when you're down there sometimes. So maybe with the new contract, maybe you get your own place.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe not.
I enjoy. I enjoy. Free places to stay.
Well,
money can't change you, right?
I can't.
Well, and
Nothing better than something that's free.
Amen to that. I think we can all agree on that one. Walk us through, like, the summer happens, you know, you're getting the contract comes, you've been busy, you've been jet setting everywhere, working on your game. Like, is the mindset instantly shift? Like, the minute that ink dries, you sign it, it's done. Hey, we believe in you. You're our dude. Does the mindset shift at all? Is it business as usual for you? Like, how do you approach what to do once the organization basically screams, hey, we believe in you this much, and now the expectations kind of reset?
Yeah, I mean, it's always the same mindset. Just continue to get better each and every day. I think, now, naturally, I think it's going to be, propel me more into having a voice on the team a little bit more. And I think it naturally comes with a certain amount of respect. So I think, just coming into this year, I think it's going to be pivotal for me to kind of voice, have a voice more. And I think that's what I was working on last year, is having a voice, especially when I was playing with a lot of the young guys. And, I had to be propelled into that situation of being a leader on the team. So I think this year is going to be, the same thing. I think whatever I learned last year, I'll bring it to this year and kind of go from there. Obviously, I have arguably the best leader in sports on the team as well to kind of help me as well. But I think kind of cementing my voice into the team would be very, very pivotal, for us to be successful.
You talk about having the best leader in sports in Damian Lillard there to kind of help you go through this. One of the things that I think has kind of been in Portland since you signed this deal, or really since CJ McCollum was traded, was if they're going to transition to Dame and CJ, to Dame and Anfernee, what's the difference? Explain to people what the difference is. And this isn't to like downplay CJ or to lift you up, but what's different about pairing you with Dame than CJ with Dame? What is the actual tenable basketball stuff that's different, that's going to set the backcourt apart from what they had been for the past 9 years?
I think Dame and CJ played two different ways in a way. They were, they had a specific skill set that they were good at. CJ could score the ball with anybody. He can create his own shot. He can just make plays off the bounce like no other. And I think that's what makes him great at what he does, and makes him, who he is. And I think Dame was more playing the point guard, of making plays for others, also scoring the ball. And I think that's pretty much the difference, that I kind of cater more towards how Dame plays than what CJ does, of just, most of the time he's being aggressive, and that's what his job was, to be aggressive, and that's who he is. Be aggressive to score each and every time. And I think the difference is that I can kind of, do both, like how Dame does. And I can make a lot of plays for others if it's not working out for me on the shooting end, and we can kind of play off each other based off that, as being a threat to do both.
Well, and how much too, Ann? I mean, a couple of years ago, you come off the bench and your shooting numbers were amazing off the ball. I think you were one of the best in the league. And then last year, obviously, everything kind of went the way it went, and you got that opportunity and you ran with it. But I'm curious how much communication you and Dame are on kind of some of this stuff, or is that more something you guys get into when camp gets going? And how much being prepared for the season in terms of what you work on is dealt with more off-ball stuff versus the balance of doing what you're saying, running point, Dame's off, he runs point, you're running off?
Yeah, I think that starts early, before training camp even starts. That's why a lot of us like to come back early, a month before training camp, just to get the ball rolling early. And I think, this coming up month before training camp, I think we're going to spend a lot of time of trying to get an understanding of, how each other want to play, and get a good chemistry going on, what things we like to do, how we want to play, how we're going to dictate, who be's aggressive at one time and who isn't. You know what I mean? So I think this is the perfect time right now to kind of establish the identity of what we're going to be.
Speaking of identities, both Joe Cronin and Chauncey Billups have made no bones about what they've wanted to do with the team, and bringing in guys like Jeremy and bringing in GP. getting more defensive. You and I have talked about over the years about the perception of your defense. What is it that's going to keep what a lot of people thought was a hiccup in Dame and CJ struggling defensively from that being a repeat? Defensively, where are you at right now? What is it that you're looking at that you can highlight and say, no, this isn't going to be an issue. This is going to be something that we can stand on?
No, I think it's basically off team concept that caters to the players. I think last year we kind of did a better job, at least in the past, comparing it to the past. Our defense was much better because we were much more aggressive. And I think that's what's going to help us next year. We got a lot of athletic dudes that's flying around. I think based off our defensive concepts, that's going to cater to our hands. And I think everybody needs to be on one accord on committing themselves to that end first. And I think, we have the talent to score the ball, but I think, what's going to set us apart is that everybody's tied in together on defense. And I think everybody has pretty much a good understanding of, that's what's going to set us over the top. And I think that's why, we brought in guys like Jeremy and GP to kind of, help us as well to kind of understand that end and understand, what we need to do to be great in that end.
Expectations can be a weird thing. I'd imagine too, from an athlete perspective, like you're only going to listen to so many different people and pundits and predictions and stuff. But I am curious, like when we talk about defense and you talk about how important it's going to be, do you feel like for you guys to maybe exceed whatever expectations people place or maybe even your own and get further in the West, do you feel like it's as simple as everybody's got to lock in on that side of the ball? Because, and it feels like I look at the roster, I'm like, Duke can score. Whereas defensively, to what Danny said, it's kind of like, I hope that, it elevates to that side. Is it as simple as you guys exceeding expectations means you've locked in defensively?
Yeah, 100%. I think more than ever before, other than probably my rookie year, this is probably the best defensive talent we've had since then. 100%. Like guys like Josh, Justice, that proved themselves to be good defenders last year. They were guarding, the best players on each team when we were playing at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. I think they kind of, proved that they was able to hold their own against those guys. And I think, adding guys like Gary, GP, that, obviously he has a good track record of guarding guys, 1 through 4. You know what I mean? At his size, which is amazing. And Jeremy, obviously, his length is disruptive and he can guard so many positions. And I think that's going to be seamless for us because, we have the flexibility of doing anything. We can switch, we can play aggressive. And I think that's what's going to help us out a lot. I mean, like I said, again, everybody needs to be on the same page when it comes to that end of the floor and how we want to approach it.
Last year, you and I talked a lot throughout the season as far as like your growth as a point guard, as a primary creator, as a ball handler, and how you really hadn't done that since high school because you had played so much off ball, whether it was in a lineup with a bench unit where CJ was kind of directing things, or when Melo was here, you kind of had to defer to him because his role was to be that real scorer for the second year. You were the off ball, floor balance, floor stretcher, post entry guy, however. But you transitioned into a role where you flat out said, like, this is not something I have done, but you said going into that year, when we had you on here last year, you talked about how much work you were putting in on your ball handling and your playmaking. And you said, no, seriously, I'm really committing myself to this. It's something I know that I need to do. Obviously, you didn't know that the season was going to go the way that it did.
Yeah.
But what is it this year that you're going to try to take and elevate the way that you did? Because you and I have joked about how I had texted you, I didn't know you were going to end up being this good. And you said something like, my dad said the same thing, 5 minutes ago. So it was like this level of growth. So now that you've achieved like this kind of, of incredibly high level in the NBA, or shown you can do it for a long period of time, what's the next thing that you kind of add to the list of like, this is what I need to add to my game? Not just continue growing, but add to my game.
I think, playing with Dame this year, I think it's going to be pivotal for me to be able to play off ball really well, coming off down screens and be able to shoot. You know what I mean? Like being a real threat on that side of the offensive end. Being able to be a guy that can come off and catch and shoot and fly around, almost like how somebody like JJ Redick would do. Just being able to do that and have the flexibility to do that. Also with switching over and still being able to be the primary ball handler and create for others at a time. And I think another step is basically I think all the best scorers know how to get to the free throw line, and that's one of the things I kind of want to be emphasizing is all the best players can get to the free throw line at any time, especially if they have an off shooting night. They're still effective somehow.
How do you work on that? Because there's guys like James Harden who made a career out of contorting their body and getting themselves in the right positions. How do you work on that in the summer?
That's hard, but I think it goes a lot of just playing against a lot of live bodies. Like I was in LA last week and for like a week and a half, and that's all we were doing is just playing with extra defenders out there guarding me, and I'm just figuring out ways to get a foul. And I think it just comes with trial and error. I think that comes with a lot of the players that get fouled now. They really just try things. They have the freedom to try things once in a while, and they kind of build a track record of, okay, this is what this guy does. And most of the time, like a lot of they'll make the call because they just see him doing a lot and trying it, and he kind of built a reputation of being that guy. I think that's the biggest part of getting calls consistently in the NBA. That's what I feel like it is.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are especially here. I mean, we're really anxious and excited to see Dame come back. Obviously, really banged up last year and having to sit out and get the surgery and stuff. But it does kind of feel like outside of the Portland, Oregon bubble that it's, oh yeah, Dame's out there. That's right. What's he looked like? How do you think how much he's foaming at the mouth to just be able to get out there? I know you're excited to play next to him, but like you've seen this dude your whole career, and we've gotten to watch him. But like to watch him sit out and then see kind of the response from people around the league of like, oh yeah, Damian Lillard's out there. How much you think he's hungry to kind of get back out there and show, oh yeah, I'm Damian mother effing Lillard?
No, I think he's really hungry. I think he's been ready for a while now, to say the least. Like he fully locked in on the season. I like to bet money that he's in game shape right now to play. Wow. He's been in game shape for a minute. So I think that's just how he's wired. I mean, he's ready to go right now. And I think, that you see that, through his whole career where he's always been more prepared than other people. Even when it came to the bubble, like, he was in game shape before you even started practicing in the before the bubble. We were going into little games, and we were just like practice, and he was first practice in the bubble, and he was just more conditioned than everybody.
He was ready from the jump.
Yeah, from the jump. You already knew, like, and that's why people weren't surprised, especially on the team where he was playing so well, because he was in fantastic shape and ready to go. So that's just who he is.
How motivating is that for you, though, and how much that's kind of maybe helped you in your career?
No, 100%. Like I said this to one of my friends a couple of days ago. It's like it's very hard for me to get complacent, especially at this time of my career. I, sign a big contract, but it's hard for me because I have a great example of somebody that's never complacent. He's made 10 times more money than me. I have no excuse to get complacent at all because I see him working working harder than everybody on the team, and he's making the most money, and he's the most successful. He's the most decorated player, and he's more prepared than anybody. So I think that's where the motivation comes from, is that if he's not slacking, then I definitely don't have room to slack at all.
In that same vein, have you guys had any discussions about, like, you're a year older than he was when he was a rookie, and you're going into year 5? Have you guys had that kind of discussion about how you kind of had a different trial by fire than where he got to refine some stuff at Weber State, whereas you was on the job training? But how you guys have kind of arrived at different paths. Have you guys had that kind of discussion about just kind of how you guys got to different places in very different ways?
No, he understand that even through my first couple of years that I was young and I didn't have that much experience, and he knew how good I could be, and then just he was honestly just patient. He was patient, that he knew that I was gonna, catch up eventually,
He did co-sign you very early.
Yeah, he did. So like that, he said, he said to the day, he was just like, he knew it was gonna click at some point. He just didn't know when. And he always continued to push me no matter what, no matter, if I was struggling and it was taking too long for me to kind of come along. He always pushed me and kind of kept me at a space where, I didn't get comfortable at where I was, even though it was hard to get comfortable for me. But I think him giving me that daily motivation and also believing in me helped me get through the hump.
Well, and I think too, Ant, like, now that you say that, I'm kind of thinking, like, I'm sure Dame's still going to be Dame and be a leader, but like, how much of that experience for you talked about being more vocal this year, right? And kind of stepping up in some of that leadership role. How much of that experience for you do you apply to a guy like Shaedon, who comes in a very unusual circumstance, didn't play in college, 6 minutes into summer league, he's hurt. Well, he's going to come back healthy now. He could be pretty vital for you guys if he can earn some minutes. Like, how much you learn from Dame versus what now you apply to a guy somewhat similar in Shaedon.
Yeah, I think it'll be easier for me to kind of relate to some of the players on the roster because obviously Dame had a different come up on how he started as a rookie. How he was able to get the ball rolling much earlier than a lot of NBA players. And I think, for my journey, I think I'm able to relate with some of the players on the roster who went through the same thing as me or going through the same thing as me. So, with Shaedon, he obviously has a great opportunity to come in and play. He's super talented and a great kid. And I think, you kind of see his demeanor is kind of was like mine when I first came in. It was very mellow, quiet, and you just kind of got to get him out of his shell a little bit, get him a little bit more confidence, and I think that's going to take him to the next level and be able to help us sooner rather than later.
One of the other guys here that's obviously been very impressive is Jabari Walker at Summer League.
Yes.
And you talk about guys being kind of ready. You and I were texting back and forth during his kind of run and kind of like he's got something. And what is it about Jabari that you can look at and be like, I can see him getting out there and being impactful for us this year?
I think it's he plays with a great pace. He's not sped up at all in any situations. I think that's kind of half of the battle in kind of getting comfortable in the NBA is getting adjusting to the speed. And once you play at your own speed and know that's your speed and you're comfortable playing at that no matter how fast the game is going, I think you're already ahead of the curve. And I think that's why he plays so well in Summer League, because a lot of guys are just flying around trying to show what they can do and not really thinking. And, Jabari plays so well because he knows who he is and knows, what works for him. So he was playing at a different pace than everybody else, and he was doing what he does best. And, he's just going to continue to get better and learn, what the coach staff wants him to do. And, he can do a lot of things. He can shoot the ball, post up, very smart, can pass the ball. He understands the game. So I think he can help us out as well.
And I love basketball. Me and Danny do the pod. We have a lot of fun. I'm only going to be able to tell so much about the game versus like somebody like yourself where you're breaking film down and you understand things. I've had people ask me this, and I always just shrug my shoulders and go, I don't know. We'll see. What was your takeaway from Chauncey Billups year one? What did you learn about your coach? Because it feels like a lot of people like me just kind of shrug our shoulders because we didn't know how to feel because last year was so unusual.
Yeah, for sure. I understand it's hard to kind of gauge. But I think based off the situation, I think he handled it very good. And I think he showed what he can do as a coach. Having based off the roster, we had a whole bunch of young guys who were pulling out wins, some games and against very good teams. And I think that kind of shows you what kind of coach he is and how he learned a lot from a great coach in Ty Lue the year before. And I think this year, we got a fully healthy team and we have a great opportunity to make something happen this year. I think, it's going to is going to show even more this year, and I think he's going to shine even more than he did last year.
All right, gotta get some numbers down here for you, because last year we had you on, and I actually got you to commit to some numbers, and you said you wanted to shoot above 45%, and you got right around there. You wanted to shoot 40% or better from 3. You wanted to shoot 85% from the free throw line. You did all that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said you wanted to get around like 15 and 4, I think is what you said was what you're kind of like what you're hoping to do. And you beat all of that. Now, you obviously had some insane numbers from January into February where I think you were at 27 and 6, if I remember right. Now, I don't think you need to put up that. What are you? I know it's hard always to put something to this, or it's about wins and but like when you go out on a nightly basis, like what's the burden? What's the expectation that you kind of put on yourself? Is like, I need to contribute, but this is what I need to bring every single night. Like, what are the goals that you're setting forth as you go into this in what I call your first real NBA season? This is your second contract. Expectations become real. So what do those expectations become for you before you even get to the outside stuff?
First, I think, well, percentages wise, I want to at least get close to 50, 40, 90. I did 89 last year, right? Free throw.
Yeah, I think you were 88.7. Yeah, I think is what it was.
Yeah, so I think 90 is a very attainable goal. 40, again, I think is another attainable goal.
How do you get your field goal percentage up? Because that was the one thing you said you needed to struggle with was that. Because you I don't know if you've seen your numbers. Your mid-range numbers are up there with KD's and CJ's and everybody else's as far as the elite category. Your volume wasn't there. Where you were struggling was finishing around the rim, and you even grew there. When you're talking about drawing free throws, is a lot of that come from getting better around the rim as a finisher, as well as drawing that contact to lift that percentage up?
Yeah, 100%. It's like you're just going into the paint more and finishing. That goes with a lot of things. It might increase the field goal, free throw. You know what I mean? Just all around, you be more effective around that area. So it's definitely a hard thing to have your field goal up to 50. But I think it's an attainable goal. I think even if I'm close to 50, then that's better. Even, as long as I'm over either 45 again or above, I think I'm in that 45, 50 range or above. I think that's perfect.
Are you guys pretty prepared to play small ball? I talked to Joe a couple of weeks ago on a radio show I do, and he had kind of mentioned, after Nurk, you've got Eubanks and you got Watford, but there's not a lot of big size behind the big guy. And he kind of alluded to like playing Justice or even Jeremy at the 5. Like, are you guys fully ready and prepared to play a lot of small ball 5 stuff?
Yeah, 100%. I think we got guys that can guard multiple positions, and I think, even when we have to play Jeremy at the 5 and do Justice at the 4, Josh at the 3, I think that will be GP at the 2, me at the 1 or something like that. I think we're fully prepared in that situation to guard multiple positions. And I think we have the guys that have the strength and the size to do it.
All right. Now we got the very important question here, Ant.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you weigh now?
I checked today. I'm like 195.
Still can't get over that 2 bill?
No, I think I hit 200 at some point, but I think
you burn it off
after those tacos in Mexico.
Yeah, we've been working out pretty hard the past couple days. So it might dip down a little bit. We got the weekend off, so it might go up a little bit by a couple of pounds.
I don't know why, Ann, but can I ask you real quick? The luck of the organization in the city, the last couple of dudes that we've had, sign on and stay here, they've been year-round guys. And I know you're from Florida. You talk about Arizona a little bit, but like, is Ant Simons a buy a house in Portland kind of guy? Is that kind of what you're eyeing? I don't want to get too
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, the house is almost done, so we're good.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Built the castle next to Dame's?
Nah. I ain't got that type of money yet.
All right, another important question that I had somebody ask. How many more tattoos have you gotten this summer?
Ooh,
he's got to count.
I like 5 or 6 more.
5 or 6 more?
Maybe.
You got full sleeves? 7. You got full sleeves on both arms? Is that the goal?
Close to it. To my right arm is almost done. I got like a little bit of room on my wrist. I'm almost done. Back of my arm is not done a little bit, but basically I got like maybe like 3 or 4 more tattoos left before both
went from
suits are
none
done.
to done in 1 year.
Well, I mean, it helps to have the kind of summer he had. And tattoos are real personal. Do you have one that's kind of like just for you and a little goofy or a little different? Like just nobody would understand it but you? Like I got the Ninja Turtles right here for me. Do you got anything kind of like that for you?
Nah, I don't. Most of the like, most of my I like to choose my tattoos and I base it off, what's gonna make sense when I'm 70 years old and I'm looking at them.
I want to laugh at mine when I'm 70.
What that is, what that is, what this about.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam. And I think that's the only way I'll get a tattoo. If it makes sense, if it's gonna make sense when I'm older, and I'm old and wrinkly and 80 years old and I'm looking at my arm full of tattoo.
What has been the single biggest change for you since February? So when it became real for you that I can do this.
After that John Morant game specifically,
yeah.
Man, the Memphis game was crazy.
The biggest change.
Yeah, what is like mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, what changed in you from then to where you're at now? Because I'll tell you from the outside looking in, you're different than you were a year ago. There was a build towards it, but just talking to you, I've noticed it. You can see it. I mean, and I'm talking to guys around you. Your trainer, Phil Beckner, said the same thing. Like there's a change in you, like that maturity. What do you think when you just take a step back and really analyze yourself? What has changed the most for you?
I think it's just maturity and confidence. I think, I think I have a clear understanding of, what type of player I want to be, what type of player I can be, just based off this year of playing so well and playing at the highest level, winning games for us, and having all these big time shots and stuff, and continuously day in day out, performing well, and coming out with some wins. I think that kind of boosted my confidence up to where I know I can play at the highest level with the best players in the league and be successful. And so I think that kind of shifted my maturity level, and my fear level went down to the lowest it can be. So I think there's nothing that I can't achieve at this point, and I'm going to continue to make sure I achieve my goals.
What was real quick on just kind of following up with that? What was the most fun night for you? Was it going
most fun night?
Was it going head to head with Trey? Was it closing that game against Memphis before the All-Star break? What was the in that 6 week span where you went nuts? What was the most fun for you?
Definitely that 4-game win streak. The back-to-back game with Milwaukee and Memphis is easily the best 2 games that I felt like almost in my career, honestly, because we just came in there like we were obviously the underdogs to win. I knew the Bucks game they didn't have Giannis at the time, but it's still they still got Drew and Chris Middleton in full strength, and I think to come out with that win and come out the next playing against Memphis, who was the second seed in the West, and at full strength, and to come out with that win too, I think that was amazing for us and for me and the whole team. I think that kind of gave us confidence that we can do this if we have full strength. We can really win games and beat teams.
Did that give you the flag to plant kind of going forward in the next year? Is that kind of like the springboard?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think like I said, that boosted my confidence to another level where I feel like there's nothing I can do. So I think I just carry that same confidence from last year to this year, and knowing that I can affect games in a positive way and consistently each and every night.
I can tell you firsthand, and I know you guys don't want to lose any games ever, but after that Memphis game, we were riding the high of your performance, and then we were both kind of like, all right, he's got to sit the rest of the year. He's too good. The team's going to win too many games here. Let me ask you, the roster might not be what it is by the end of the season. Your general manager has basically alluded to that. It's not a perfect roster by any stretch, but you've added these pieces. How do you guys, if you're kind of looking and talking about the Western Conference, it's really hard to kind of figure out because you don't know who's going to be as good as they might be and who's going to maybe be disappointing. How do you think you guys stack up in the West right now?
I think we set up great. Obviously, there's a lot of teams in the West now that got a lot more players that got better, but I think we just got to take it, one game at a time. It's a long season. We just got to focus in on each night, each team we play, and play harder than them, and be the team that wants it more. And I think it's easy for us to have that kind of want to be better than other teams, because I think a lot of us, obviously, we're Portland, so it's like a lot of people overlook us and kind of count us out a little bit. So it's easier to have that drive to want to win games each and every night and kind of prove people wrong.
ESPN had you at 35 wins and 10th in the West. I just want to throw that at you. Just want to tell you.
Yeah, I already know. I saw that. I saw that.
All right, man. Well, we'll get you out of here on this. You guys are getting into town for your pre-training camp workout here. What, like about 2 weeks? Everybody's starting to come to town over like the next week or so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I usually get here a month before training camp.
Exactly. Talking to the summer league guys, Trenton and Jabari both said that they were going to try to get into town early as well. So I imagine you guys will get
I mean, all the young guys pretty much in town.
Yes, they wanted to get going early. They said.
Yeah.
So with everybody kind of coming into town, you'll kind of get into unofficial 5-on-5 stuff and start ramping up. Like when you're looking this and you're kind of taking that first next step forward in like the next part of your NBA career and your life. What's the thing you're looking forward to most this season?
Man, just going out there and having an opportunity to really win. Just
to impact winning.
Yeah, 100%. Just being a part of something special. I think, and being a big impact in it. Now. So I think that's really kind of what driving me is that I want to win and be a part of it. And I think everybody else does as well.
All right, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you for joining us. I know you've had a very busy summer all around, from LA to Phoenix to Vegas to Mexico and back again in Florida. Again, thank you. We appreciate you. You got anything else coming up? Any more of your charity work, the Be a Light or your foundation or anything coming up?
I have nothing coming up right now.
Okay.
Nothing coming up right now.
I always want to make sure we get an opportunity to plug it, because you guys are always doing
Yeah,
something.
I appreciate that.
No, always, brother. Again, thank you. Nothing but best of luck for you for this season. Good health.
Congrats, by the way, again.
Congrats on the contract, especially. It's been fun, man. So I just want to say again. So like I said, you and I have talked so much over the years. It's very cool to see. So everybody. Anfernee Simons, Portland Trailblazers guard, which I'm sure we'll probably check back in sometime around All-Star break like we did last year and kind of see how things are going. And good luck, man. We'll talk soon, all right?
All right. Cool.
Thanks again, everybody, for joining Jacked Ramsays. For Brandon, I'm Danny. Take care. Have a wonderful night, and we'll talk soon. Bye.